Senate at the plenary on Thursday urged the security forces to secure the release of the last Dapchi schoolgirls still being held by Boko Haram insurgents. The upper chamber of the National Assembly also saw the release of the remaining 112 Chibok girls in captivity. The plea was based on the point of order raised by the majority leader, Senator Ahmed Lawa, on the recovery and return of the adopted Dapchi girls. He thanks Nigerians for showing patriotism and giving Yobe people the kind of support that they needed. The lawmaker, who's representing Yobe North, thanked the Senate for giving its support when the Senator Bukar Abba Ibrahim, under whose constituency Dapchi fell, moved a motion to formally inform the chamber on the adoption. Meanwhile, the Senate President Bukola Saraki has tasked the federal government with ensuring the release of the last Dapchi girl with the insurgents. Reactions have continued to trail release of the 101 Dapchi schoolgirls adopted from the Government Girls Science Technical College, Dapchi, Yobe State by Boko Haram. Senator Bukar Ibrahim, representing Yobe Central, has expressed delight with the news of the return of the schoolgirl. Reacting to the release of the adopted girls, Senator Ibrahim urged federal government to do everything possible to secure the release of the remaining Dapchi schoolgirl.
I was elated. I was very, very happy. But along the line, I got to know that not all of them were released. That has made me a bit unhappy, even though I know the rest will also be released. Whatever the governments, that's from federal to local governments, did to secure their releases, I'm sure the rest will also be released. But how I wished they released all of them. At this morning, we are still left with 34 missing girls in Dapchi and quite a number from Chibok. There are still Chibok girls who have not been released. I just hope and pray that it will not be long before we get the 34 Dapchi girls and the balance of the Chibok girls released, and that my happiness then will not know any limits.
While speaking on the deployment of 2,000 armed police to schools as part of the measure to enhance protection in public schools in the Northeast, he called for security awareness among Nigerians.
I recently heard of the news of this government's providing 2,000 security men to all the schools in Yobe. That is a very welcome development. 2,000 may not be enough, but it's a good number for a start. There is also the need to provide security to other strategic institutions, not only schools, but also hospitals and all other establishments across the state and indeed across the country. There is also the need to create security awareness amongst Nigerians, men, women, young, old. That's need for people to be security conscious all the time, everywhere in the country. That is the price we have to pay for.
Also, Senate Majority Leader Senator Ahmed Lawa also expressed joy over the release of the Dapchi girls.
Well, I haven't seen an official statement, but from the clips of television stations and the social media, I think the rescue is real, and that is my prayer. And for us in Yobe State, it's a huge and massive relief because we were distressed when the girls were abducted. And I have heard over the news that the federal government has already sent a very powerful delegation to go to Yobe State, in Dapchi in particular, to receive the girls that were brought back or recovered. That is a huge, huge moral booster. Not only for people, those of us from Yobe, but for the entire nation, and it's a huge and massive relief.
President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, has described the release of these Dapchi schoolgirls as answer prayer of millions of Nigeria. In a related development, All Progressive Congress, through its National Publicity Secretary, Malam Balaji Abdullahi, said APC government has demonstrated how government should respond to such situation. He said if immediate past People Democratic Party administration has responded with a similar drive, the Chibok schoolgirl will have been released or rescued.
We are all, every Nigerian should be happy this morning that the girls were returned to their families. Of course, it's regrettable and it's quite sad that about 5 of the girls lost their lives, which also underlines the fact that as government, we have to continue to be proactive to ensure that things like this don't happen, because sometimes it's almost too late, because when you lose lives, it's almost too late to recover. But we are happy that these children are returned to their family within the shortest possible time. It also underlines the need for government to react quickly to this kind of thing, because in the case of the Chibok girls, we remember that one of the key issues was that it took government a long time to react, because while blaming the opposition, while denying that kidnapping actually happened, so we lost valuable time. So the difference this time is that government was able to move, perhaps with the benefit of that experience, move more quickly, and we can all see the outcome. So all Nigerians should be happy that this has happened.
From Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting.
National Universities Commission (NUC) says it is embarking on the process of reforming the country's higher educational system in order to turn out products that can compete globally with their counterparts. Executive Secretary NUC Professor Abubakar Rashid stated this in Abuja at a workshop on the proposed higher education reform and African Center of Excellence. Professor Rashid said the reform was agreed upon at the end of a deliberation by the Reform Committee on Higher Education, headed by Professor Okebukola Peter, to advise the Commission.
There are vice-chancellors here, there are pro-chancellors here, and there are directors of academic planning, and then there are many directors of research in the university. The gathering is part of the processes of pushing a very comprehensive reform agenda for the Nigerian university system. We are currently involved in developing a workable blueprint for the rapid revitalization of our universities in this country. We want to tackle the problems of access, because we realize that so many of our young girls and boys do not get admission to universities, not because they are not intelligent, but because the space is not there. If you take most of them to the best universities of those denied admission in Nigeria, take them anywhere abroad, they will graduate with excellent remarks. So it's not because they are not intelligent. So we want to tackle this problem. We also want to tackle the issue of quality.
Mr. Andres Blom of the World Bank identified funding as a key in addressing the challenges, called on Nigerian universities to generate their own funding instead of depending on public funding to get their dreams accomplished.
There is money out there, but it needs to go out and needs to submit and prepare proposals. There's a lot of work in that. And that's in many countries for key professors, they have to go out and write grants and win grants. That's a key part of it. So that, I think, is a very good culture and capacity to build.
In Abuja, LM Chukwamka report.
Lovely place, right?
Yes.
What's wrong? You don't look happy.
Take a look around. Why can't my hotel be like this?
I knew something was wrong, but I've got solution.
Solution? What?
Nanet.
Nanet?
Nanet offers you design solutions, building plans and construction, furnishing and equipping, financing, management, audit services, and many more services for a better hospitality business. Nanet, service with a smile.
The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Mrs. Aisha Ahmad and Edward Adamu as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. It also approved the nomination of 3 of the 4 members of the Monetary Policy Committee. The MPC member confirmed are Professor Adiola Festus Akinikanju, Dr. Aliyu Rafendadi Sanusi, and Dr. Robert Shikwendu Aswaga. The confirmation followed the adoption of the report of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, which screened the nominee on Monday. In the report on the MPC nominee presented by the chairman of the Senate Committee, Senator Rafiu Ibrahim, the panel said Medugu was considered not qualified to occupy the position which he was nominated. Some representatives of oil producing community in the Niger Delta area of the country have besieged the National Assembly complex in protest, decrying the disparity in payment of tenement rates by Shell Nigeria. The protesting group who mounted a roadblock at the entrance of the National Assembly told journalists that some of them are paid the agreed sum of 600,000 naira annual rate, while others received 200,000 naira. Spokesman of the angry group, Chief Ezekiel Odende, said the imbalance in the payment cannot continue, as the member said to take the matter to the public.
The issue is this, that by the Land Use Act 1970, the Land Use Decree 1978, the rent, the oil is being produced have a rent. The federal government instituted that law. Now, when the crudes are being drilled, that area they acquired, there is a rent to pay. Now, there is discrepancy, there is dichotomy in the payment, which we have identified. And we now call them to order. Places like Bonny, where is their terminal, they pay them 600,000. Places where the raw material is taken from, all over the Niger Delta, they pay them 200,000. We submitted the case before the National Assembly, and it was referred to the Ethics and Privileges Committee, and they admitted the fault. And I said, pay us the arrears. The arrears is from 2014 to 2018. Then it is already due for 2019, because it is paid in 4 years or 5 years. Which is they agreed to pay uniformly with a 600,000 naira per hectare. Now, it should have been we, the landlords, to decide the price, but they decided it for us. Why is it the discrepancy? That's our argument. The argument is that they should pay us the arrears and pay us the 600,000 that they are paying to either Bonny or Fukados, one another area, making me and my brother to fight. We are not ready to fight again. But let them do the right thing. An industry can only survive when there is raw material. The raw material for oil industry is the crude oil. And the crude oil, where it is coming from, is less paid.
The protesters said they were in National Assembly to let the legislature know their plight and to intervene on their behalf. The former media advisors to SY President Olusegun Obasanjo, Dr. Doyin Okupe, has tasked Professor Iteshi Sege, chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption, to within 24 hours carry out a thread to reveal the details of the running course of the principal officers of the National Assembly. Okupe, however, wanted the revelation to include the running course of President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, ministers, special advisors to the president, and other top government functionaries, and even himself. The former presidential spokesman said the failure by Saget to give correct figure about the running costs of all top members of the Buhari government in the executive and legislature should be taken up by the National Assembly, and that each day he failed to carry out his threat, his credibility will continue to nosedive. According to him, I find the threat by Professor Shagit on allowance and running costs of the leadership of the National Assembly very interesting. It will aid to our fight for transparency in public affairs. However, it should not be selective. According to Okupe, for him to be taken seriously, it should include the details of the running costs of the office of the president, vice president, minister, and special advisor, and head of government agency, parastatals, and even himself. After all the salaries and allowances and running costs are from the same public coffer, he said in a statement.